We just wrapped on the cover shoot for The Knot, and I'm so excited. It was so good. The outfits were so fun. Everything looked incredible. Definitely wore some things that were out of my comfort zone. But the photos were all amazing, and I'm so excited. Jeremy and I met through work, actually, a couple years before we reconnected in a romantic way. But we were both in other relationships, and then we reconnected. This is so millennial and like borderline embarrassing, but he saw me on the dating app called Raya. And I feel like no one actually messages each other on Raya, so he messaged me on Instagram. I missed the DM because I hadn't crossed paths with him forever, so I wasn't following him. And then I saw him on Hinge, another dating app, and messaged him on Hinge, and that's how we reconnected. But it took three, and the best part of all of this is that it took 3 apps, but we had each other's email and phone numbers from having previously worked together. Our first date was really cute. He just like picked a really cute local restaurant near me, and it was really cute. I was just like, I was not looking for a relationship whatsoever, and so I was like not, you know, I was taking it seriously, but I was like, oh, this is very, very casual, and we were pretty much inseparable from that first date. But I was definitely not that nervous, I feel like, because I was like, oh, this is not gonna be anything serious. And here we are. I experienced anxiety and panic attacks, and I had a panic attack on, I think maybe like our 4th or 5th date, and he was just so incredibly understanding and was just like such a pillar of stability. And I think it was also an accidental test very early on to be like, oh, he actually is really great. Like, that went really well, because that could have been like that could have been the last date. You know what I mean? Like, some people would have been like, yeah, no, I'm good on that girl. And that was not the case whatsoever. And so, like, I feel like I wanted to like say some like funny, cute meet story that was like very lighthearted, but I think that was like one of the standout moments where it was really a solid representation of just like how stable and understanding and effortless it's been with Jeremy. In the first month, I was almost like a little sussed out that he was so mature, and I was like there's something wrong. Like, it's almost like too many, it feels like when there's too many green flags, you're like, is this a red flag? Which, I don't know what that says about me, and I don't know what that says about society, and I don't know what that says about men, but that was my experience. And then I think once I got over there being too many green flags, I was like, maybe it is just a green flag. I don't know what our first fight was. We've been together for like 4.5 years. I'm sure it wasn't anything substantial. Oh my god, I don't know. He's definitely better at like offering the olive branch than I am, for sure. I get what I call an emotional hangover, where like even after we've made up, I'm like still a little salty and a little sassy afterwards. I need to like purge the emotional hangover. So he was probably nicer to me faster than I was nicer to him again. I think the podcast has made us learn how to have maybe more serious conversations than we might have without it. And I think also, not only is it a great time where you're sometimes answering questions that might not have ever come up had you not been like, oh, like, let's chat about this to the podcast. Or like when we have a listener or podcast viewer submit a question of their own relationship issue, like maybe it's not an issue that we will ever have or face, but you know, we still are like, okay, well, like what do we do in this situation? So I think we've learned a lot about each other and just communication overall based on like our own conversations, and also helping other listeners, well, hopefully helpful, unsolicited, maybe helpful, hopefully helpful advice. It feels different now. It feels different in a really good way. I feel like I've seen some couples who have been like, oh, nothing changes once you get engaged, but for us, I think that everything just feels a little more deeper. That feels a little more deep, and just an overall general deeper connection, which has been really nice. It's the first really big step of being a unit, you know what I mean? Like, it feels like a more official step of like joining forces with your significant other. I mean, obviously we have been very serious about each other for a very long time. I think being a creator and having separation in terms of having parts of your life that stay private is just being mindful of it and being aware of what you are sharing. And I think actually it's more important to be aware of the times where you're not sharing things. So having moments that you keep for yourself, like for example, we shared a ton of our engagement photos, but like there's a few clips of video and such that we really just shared with close friends and family to keep that moment kind of private. So I think it's really just being mindful of what you're comfortable with and setting boundaries that you and your partner are both aware of and comfortable with. Oh, what do I hope marriage looks like? I guess just like happy and successful and growing together. I'm excited for us to, I mean, I think just like create more memories. I mean, I guess also like if we create a human child as well too down the line, like looking forward to that eventually. This is the answer that my mom wanted. This is the answer of grandchildren that my mom was looking for in this question. Make sure to check out the new edition of the Knot magazine on stands now.